What's up, comic peeps? It's Detroit Madman, and I'm back with another comic haul. I had some business on the other side of town today, so what I did was I hit this really great comic shop, and you'll see a clip of it at the beginning of this video. These really great 50-cent bins that they have, and they're always stocked with little goodies and treasures. And this comic shop has really high-end books, and they also have a lot of variant covers. They do a huge amount of business on eBay, and they buy and sell a lot of collections on eBay as well. So they're always stocking their 50-cent and dollar boxes with sometimes thousands of comics. It's pretty insane. But their prices on everything else, on high-grade books, I mean, is the top. They're asking eBay and above prices on their really nice books, so it's really hard to get a good deal there on stuff that is really high demand. So one thing I do want to show you today, I was lucky enough when I went over there. If you remember, maybe a few videos ago, I showed this Spider-Woman figure that I got in that video. And I have never collected any figures before, but these Legends figures are really nice. And I've seen them in some haul videos, and this one had a Thanos head in it and an arm. And so I took a look that first day I was looking at figures, and I saw this, and I picked that up. And then today I came across a couple other figures in the Marvel Legends line, and I really liked them, so I picked them up. The first one is Captain Marvel. And this is the Maidens of Might, I don't know, subcategory, and it's got, this crazy looking guy here, the All-Father's head. I thought that's a great figure. I love her costume, and it's got the little mohawk head that you can put on. So I thought that was kind of cool. I picked that one up, and then also I was able to pick up the Scarlet Witch, which is one I wanted. And I thought that's a great costume as well. And it's got another head in there. I don't know who the All-Father is, so apologize. But I thought that was a great figure. So I'm really stoked about these Legends figures. I see myself maybe getting a little addicted to these. I don't know. I better be careful, because I got a lot of comics I want to buy. So at any rate, what I did today is I picked up some new books. The place I went to will have every book that you ask. If you want, number one of Silk, they'll have the first printing, the second printing. The first printing will run you $25, but they'll have it, or whatever the price is of it. But so what I did is I just went and hit the 50-cent box a little hard. I hit the dollar box a little bit, and found a couple comics that I liked in there. And then I bought a few new issues, and I'll show you those. And I needed to fill a couple holes, so I picked those up. First off, this is a throwaway comic I got. It's in the 50-cent box, but I love the cover on it. And it's Elephant Men. It's actually a double issue. One side has a story. And I like the art. I really wanted to check this out. I saw one that came out yesterday at the shop, and it was like a $5 or $7 book. I can't remember. But the art in this is cool, so I think I'm going to look for this from now on. Or maybe I can find a deal on some books that on eBay or something for a lot. So I thought that was cool. It's 50 cents. It's just a throwaway. They had it in there because it was damaged at the bottom. Next up, I've never seen this before, and I got this in the 50-cent box. It's gem mint condition. I mean, it really is pristine as possible, but doesn't make it worth anything. I just thought the cover was interesting. It's got that really interesting Wolverine cover. Another thing that I thought was pretty interesting about this book, and the art inside of this is okay. It has a couple of panels that are alright, but really it looks kind of boring, to be honest. But one thing that I thought was cool is it has Stan Lee's soapbox on the back. And you guys might know from other videos that I'm a huge soapbox guy. And to have a really pristine soapbox on a back cover interested me. So I I picked that one up. Got this for 50 cents. Actually, everything I'm going to show you is I got in the 50-cent box except one. So this is Sons of Anarchy. It's issue number 13. And I don't know anything about that series other than I watched some of the TV shows. So I thought I'd get a peek at what the comic's all about. Not that I'm going to jump into it or anything. It was just 50 cents. And then I got excited when I saw this. It was like a mint condition copy of Forever People. And I'm thinking Jack Kirby or whatnot, but under closer examination, this comic actually came out in 1988, I believe. And even though Jack Kirby was the creator of Forever People, this artwork is done by someone else. Still kind of cool, but yeah, definitely, one of those things. I don't know if I have any use for it with it not being Kirby. Then I saw this and I kind of got excited when I first saw the cover, but the condition of it is really bad up at the top. But I love that Joker cover, and I said, you know what? Just to read through this comic, there's some good panels, but a few good Joker panels in there. But I got to find this comic. I like that cover. But that comic's kind of thrashed. I got this for 50 cents too. Obviously, it's called Executioner's Song Bagged, Part 12. And it's X-Force number 18. Nothing major. Probably not worth more than the 50 cents I paid for it, but it is bagged with a card in there. And I've been putting kind of a little flashback to 90s comics in one of my long boxes, and it's getting thicker and thicker. And when I get them all together, I think it'll be interesting to see what I've collected in a couple of months out of 50-cent boxes. Next up, I like the cover on this one. It's Solar, Man of Adam, number 18. But the inside of this book's kind of whack. I was hoping to have a lot of action in there. And it was kind of a lot of people talking and out of uniform. So, cover good. Everything else kind of whack in that. Alright, so I'm going to actually show you now just one of the comics I got out of the dollar box. And this here is a Fantastic Four, number 243. Has a little bit of a rough spot on the right side there. And the cut is kind of weird. It's almost cut off the bottom. And then there's that black line at the top. So it's a miscut comic, and that probably detracts, obviously, from the value completely. But awesome Galactus cover. Got all the guys on there. Doctor Strange is on there. Fantastic Four's on there. Iron Man's on that cover. So I thought that was kind of cool. Next up, I found a Cable, or actually a Cage, number 1. So that'd be Luke Cage, number 1. Cool looking cover. Don't really know anything about the book itself. It was unrecognizable to me. I've never seen it before. But perfect condition, right price. Now I've got a Secret Weapons. It's a Valiant title. It's number 1. And I looked through this book. I could barely find a page that was tolerable enough to read. I thought this book was horrific inside. And I don't know what else to say about it. It was a bad comic. Found this in there. It's X-Force number 26. Thought the comic's cover was cool. And it says, I don't know who any of these guys are actually. I'm sorry. Cool cover though. Good condition. Next up, I found an X Factor 28. Nothing wrong with it at all. So it's picked up a few X Factors lately. Again, this is a comic that I never collected ever. So putting together a few issues at 50 cents a piece, pretty interesting. I found a Dark Hawk #2, which, gotta be honest with you, I only remember Dark Hawk maybe as in passing, in maybe the 90s. I heard about him, but I never owned a comic about him. And this one had Spider-Man on the cover, so I picked that one up. And the Hobgoblin. It's actually not a bad cover. And then this one really popped out. It's another Dark Hawk. It's issue number 13, and that's what you call a Venom cover, huh? And look at, he's all webbed up in the face and everything. And the bag on this one is actually, let's see here. I should have changed the bag on this one. This bag is pretty decrepit. I think the condition's a lot better outside of the bag. Yeah, that looks really nice. What a cover, huh? Like that. And next up, found a Dark Hawk #25. And this screams 90s. It's got the red foil, real heavy cardboard cover. And I'm not sure if it's a wraparound cover. I don't think so. But shiny, and I think it might even be die cut in the middle, which screams 90s. So that'll make it into my 90s box. So then I found this. It's the Sensational She-Hulk. It's issue number 1. And I thought it was funny because I've seen this comic before, and I don't know where I've seen it, probably at a con or something. But she's actually holding a cover of Savage She-Hulk #1, which is a comic I've been trying to get on eBay for a while now, maybe like the last month. And I get outbid in the last day every single time. So either my price has to come up to get it, or I got to get super lucky on a buy it now. But I was pretty stoked to find that one. Next up, I've got the Deadly Foes of Spider-Man #1. And it's got Rhino on there and all these other guys. And outside of just being cool, I don't think there's anything special about it. I think this is a 4-part miniseries that came out. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Can't beat the price. I always loved the Shocker. I thought he had some great covers in the 70s and 80s when I was collecting as a kid. And this Amazing Spider-Man 364 took me back to that. So I thought that was a cool cover. I was happy to pick that up for 50 cents. And if you've been following probably the last 4 or 5 videos, I've been telling you I've been picking up some black costume Spider-Man comics, and there was a few of them in the 50-cent bin in really good condition. This one jumps right out at you, literally. So it's a Marvel Tales number 277. I like the artwork on that. And then the cover on this one's not really good. I just think it lacks pizzazz at all. But it was a black costume one, so I picked it up. It's Web of Spider-Man #9. And then this one, I was completely happy to find this one in there. Look at this cover. I've never seen this cover before. It's Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man #107. This is just a cool looking cover. I was happy about that. Next up, I got a couple of books here I never heard of before. Really nice condition. This one actually really pops. It's called Night Force. It's issue number 4. And if you can see that, that was really cool. It's got a guy in the shadows, kind of a snake coming out, and the damsel in distress. Phenomenal condition. Probably not worth anything, but really cool to have. And then here's Night Force number 3. This was in there as well. And these were the only 2 issues I could find of this title. I would have bought more. I think it has interesting subject matter on the cover, and like the use of the colors that they're using. I don't know who the artist was, but I think these were kind of a throwback to maybe some early 70s comics. And then, man, did I get excited when I saw this pop out at me. I had no idea that they did a throwback cover. And as you can see, this says Ryan after Kirby via Machio. But one of the all-time great covers, the Fantastic Four redone. Fantastic Four have those weird, I don't know if these are 90s or these late 80s. They're probably late 80s costumes. But check out the Watcher, that's awesome. The Coming of Galactus. One of these days I'll have the real book to that, and it won't be a throwback. Alright, so I've got a couple of eBay things I was going to show you, but first I'm going to show you one of the new pickups that I got. And I showed in my Wednesday haul yesterday that I picked up Sabrina number 2 and 3. So I found the second printing of issue 1 there for cover price, and they did have the first printing there, and they wanted a freaking fortune for it. So like I said, this place is going to have first printings, second printings of everything, but you know, this is good enough for me. I just want to get into the series and read it, and like I said yesterday, I really like the covers on these. So I have issue 1, issue 2, and this awesome looking cover on issue 3. So that's awesome. And then I was able to pick up a Silk issue number 2, and I think it's a first print. Now, she charged me cover price on this, but on the wall, or on their variant section, they had these priced at $8 each. So I don't know. I believe this is a first print based on that numbering system there, but I don't think she charged me what they were asking for the ones that were in their variant section. And that issue number 2 goes with issue number 1 that I have. And this is a variant cover. Issue number 1. I picked this up a while ago. I just haven't had it in one of my hauls yet. So I've got issue 1, issue 2, and then I've got the What the Duck variant cover for issue 3, which is cool looking. And then I showed this in last week's video. I picked up issue 4. And then the last book I picked up from her today was Spider-Woman number 1. And this is a second printing book. Cool cover. And I need to find that because I also have issue 2 and issue 3, which I like this cover here. This is really cool. And then issue 4, which is, I really like this cover. Hey, look at it. Yeah, I really love that cover. Okay, so real quickly here, I'm going to show you one of the online pickups that I got. And I'm just so happy to have this book. It is in immaculate condition. It is Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man number 1, with Tarantula on the cover. And I don't know if you can see the condition of this book because of the glare, but I mean, this is brand new white. And You cannot find a flaw on this book at all. The only flaw I could find, I think, would be a little miscut centering, where it would be cut over a little bit too much to this side. But other than that, this book is absolutely perfect. And I'm really happy to have that. It's one of my favorite books of all time. I had a beat up copy of this, and I had the opportunity to pick this one up, and I jumped on it. And then another interesting pickup I had, my only other eBay purchase here. This one I've had for about a week, but it didn't fit in very well on my last haul, so on my eBay haul. I was telling you maybe a few hauls ago that I really like kind of oddball items. And I found this lot of oddball items. And this one here is one of those comics interview magazines. And it's all based... It came out around the time that the Batman movie came out, the original one. With, I think, Kim Basinger and Keaton in it. And it is just an awesome book. Lots of cool interviews in there. It's actually got an awesome interview with Bob Kane, and he talks about his relationship with, I think, Finger and the whole origin of Batman and the villains. And the interesting thing about that is I think a lot of stuff came out after this was printed, like maybe 10 years later or something, about that relationship and how jacked up it was. Then another thing that was in here is 4 issues of this, which is called All About Comic Books. And it's maybe like a 6 or 8 page Marvel thing that they put out in the 90s, I believe. And it talks about characters and origins and how things got started in the Marvel universe. So I'm going to give some of those away. Got 3 of those to give away. Then this was in there. It's called Amazing Heroes, and again, it's one of those interview books from, I guess, the early '80s that has a lot of great. So they talk Silver Age stuff. It's got Kirby interviews. I just love stuff like this, and it's all in really good condition. And I really love the ads in here for the back issues. This actually has a top 100 current comic list in the back. And the date on this is 85. So I love stuff like that. Next up is some things I remember from when I was a kid. And these were called the superhero catalogs. It was full of merchandise that you could order. And if you were a kid in the 70s, you loved getting, and probably before, and even maybe a little after, you loved getting the Christmas catalogs every year. Because in those catalogs would be all the toys and the games and everything that would come out. But if you were able to get your hands on this catalog every year, this was every single toy, every single figure that you could order out of it. Anything from action figures and guns to play sets, Micronauts. But it all had to do with your favorite comic heroes. Huge Batmobiles, Bat Cycles, Halloween costumes, action figures, play sets. And what I really loved in it was the Migos. And you could just order whatever you wanted. They were like $2. Vehicles, books, posters, backpacks. These are freaking awesome. Look at the t-shirts. $2.50. And so I've got a couple years worth of these. And man, it was a blast in the past looking through these. School supplies, decals, large figures, hang-ups, wall clings. They had it all. Comic fandom has been around for 40 or 50 years in pretty much the same frenzy that it is today. People that I see at Comic Cons now and act the same way I did about shit when I was a kid. collecting this stuff. This is actually one of my favorite toys of all time. And I saw this ad in a recent comic book that I bought. And you used to point these at the ground, and you would load cars in the back of these. And then you would shoot them across your kitchen, and they would have superheroes in cars, like little jets. And then you could fly them through different obstacles and stuff. It was amazing. Look at that Spider-Man belt. That's awesome. I love these too. You should shoot these all over the place. We used to make our own and draw heroes on them. And if you're my age, you remember this shit. That can right there would have just flipped me out if I would have got it when I was 7, 8 years old. Look at the posters. So awesome. Patches. Look at that room. That's what you wanted your room to look like back in 1977. So at any rate, I hope you liked the haul. I'm going to finish my beer now, and if you like it, give it a thumbs up. Oh, another thing I was going to bring up, and I don't know if anybody collects these, or if anybody just has back issues laying around. But I love these Alter Ego magazines, and I also love I think it's called Back Issue. If anybody has these and wants to trade, I'll trade comics for them. I'm going to put a list together of, I've got probably a couple hundred comics that I'm willing to trade for different things I want, and I'll put a list together, and I have a whole bunch of stuff, even back to the Silver Age of comics that I just don't care for. I'd love to do some trading. I'm interested in weird and wacky stuff and alter ego things. And if you like the video, definitely gives it a thumbs up. Subscribe, drop me a line. Hope you like the videos. It's Detroit Madman. Peace out.